Hello shape enthusiasts, welcome back to another episode of Shapes 2. In the last episode we took a little break from making all these milestones to really vamp up our factory. We doubled up all our throughput by extending everything into the second level. We created a whole bunch of new blueprints called our Mark II blueprints, and we are ready to tackle the game now at double speed. So what are we going to be doing this episode? I think we need to learn another key new skill. In our research tree, we have two new shapes, the cutter and the swapper. We haven't been using this at all, but I've been told that if I use the cutter and swapper, we can make some of the shapes we've been making, but a lot easier than the way I've been doing it. I've typically, if I were to make a shape like this, I would cut it into quarters and then piece it back together. But with the cutter and swapper, I'm sure we can find much more efficient ways to do that. Before we go ahead and do that, we want our milestones and our pin tasks to be running in the background because I don't actually have enough research points for both of these yet. So I think I will start with, I don't need my milestones to be going that fast right now. Let's just get our pin tasks going. So where is this red and green square happening? It's over here. We just need to tack a circle onto that. So this is being delivered by train at the moment. If we just head to see where that's happening, these old pin tasks are still using our Mark I blueprints. So I will just continue to use Mark I blueprints for just these ones. We'll upgrade them all to Mark II at some point. Now, where was the circle I wanted to add on to this? It's over here. That's so far away. Let's grab our blueprint from here. It's going to just use our old extractor. We're just going to do one belt of it. It's fine. It'll eventually tick over. There's no rush in this game, guys. It's a very, very chill and zen game. We're going to route that over here, turn it in, and we're going to somehow connect these two things using a stacker. I believe there's no particular orientation we need to do this in, so we can just use a regular stacker. Our old stacking array, go over here, oops, go over here, and then we'll just pipe that in, pipe that out, and that should give us the circular shape that we want. No preview, that's fine. I have faith I've done that correctly. Our other pin task is this emerald, and we just need to double up the emerald and do a half emerald. I believe emeralds are coming through here, so we can very easily double that up, I believe, just by copying that, putting it over here. I'm gonna shove it through my rotation array that I created before, because that's gonna give our half. We do need to give it a 90-degree this way rotation, which is clockwise. Do I have a clockwise rotator in Mark II? I do. I'm going to use our Mark II module, even though it's not going to use the second level output, it's still going to use the first level output. And we can just merge this on top of here, and that will allow us to get the shape for this pin task. So if I go to my blueprints and pull my stacking array, it doesn't matter which order we do it in because it's just making a flat shape, that should give us our emerald half. We just need to route that back onto our main line. Now I don't care what is happening over here, because once these two pin tasks are completed, when we start our next series of pin tasks, I will be upgrading all of this to use our Mark II items. This is going, this is not. Why is this going but having many breaks? Let's have a look at our train loader and see where the blockage is. It's being delivered constantly, and it's being delivered in here constantly. Eventually, does this thing just finish unloading and there's no more train? So what is actually the blocker then? If we go back to have a look at what our green train is doing, our green train has fully unloaded. Sorry, our green train's up here. It has, here we go. We're gonna go apply a tip now from our friend. So we can see here we've got packages backing up here, right? So if we go back to our home, we can see we've got green packages unloading here, but then bam, we've got a break because the rail is so damn far away from everything that it can't keep up with the package delivery. I got a little tip from one of my commenters, WAF74, big shout out to you for all the tips you've given me so far, that if I just simply add another train stop here and another wagon, we can double the throughput of the train. So if I put a train there and a wagon there, it's going to stop and then stop again and load this onto 2 different wagons. Let me just, oh, I don't want to reset. Do I want to reset the train? Let's reset the train and see if it does that. So it goes here, it picks up a load, and then it goes there and it picks up another load. That is amazing. Amazing, look at that. Let's connect that back into our main rail, and hopefully now that will deliver double the amount of cargo, and it will make this a little bit faster. Not that it needs to be a little bit faster because it's almost done. All right, let's go and make the other part of this pin shape. What do we need for that? We need half a ninja star, which is located conveniently somewhere. I remember I picked one right here. So if we extract that part of the star, we can use our blueprints that we made earlier, the Mark II extractor. That should give us a full belt of stars, and I think our half cutter fits neatly on top of that. So we'll go to our blueprint and it will take our Mark II cutter. Is that oriented the right way? I don't believe it is. That should give us full belt of half stars. Now we just need to bring that over to our blue squares, which are being cut in half somewhere. No, we haven't cut the blue squares in half. So this is propped up using a pin. This is our propped up blue square. Can't really show it to you guys, but you'll just have to take my word. It is going through a pin pusher and it is being pushed up. On top of this pin pusher, we will need to now halve it. So if we take our cutter again, we can just put that at the end of here, and that should give us our cut one. Now we need to take the belt we just made and bring it over here. Just figuring out a good place to do that. We'll go across maybe, and then we'll hit tab and go under the rail, press 1, oops, press 1 and bring that over. Let's give the rail some breathing room. Maybe I'll just do it something like in line with this, and we'll just do it like here somewhere. Because with these two things, I just need to merge them, right? Because that's the half, that's the thing. I just need to make sure the pinned blue thing is on top and that the star is on the bottom. So if we go to our blueprints, we have built ourselves a Mark II stacking array. And I've got too many tiles here. So we built Mark II stacking array. We need to zoom in a little bit to see what goes on top and what goes on the bottom. This is getting very hard to see. I can see by the ridges that the star is currently going to be on top. So I need that, flip that, and then put it down. And that should output the correct shape, and we just need to route that back onto our train loader. So that should be slowly delivering that. Now it's asking us to stack another pin on top of our half circles. So why don't we just kick that off, because I don't think that's going to be too difficult, is it? So we've already got our half circles being painted at the moment, green, and then going through a pin pusher to hit this platform. Of course, I need to probably move this platform down a few levels because it keeps asking me to push it up. So from here, this is a green half circle that's been pushed up once, but now it wants me to push it up again. That should just be a simple copy and paste of the entire platform, no? Will that give me the correct shape? That's looking awfully like that. Yeah, I think that's pretty simple. So that gives me the correct shape I need. I just need to route it back into my train platform and we're all good. Now we can go focus back on this task. Sorry, I said I was going to work on the cutter and swapper, but I'm being distracted by doing all of this. But that's fine, because we do need the research points. We don't actually have enough research points to unlock the cutter and stacker yet. So let's go find where our emeralds are being cut, and let's make more emeralds. I know I'm probably doing this in the stupidest way possible, but that's absolutely fine. Let's just put that down. Put down another one. Put another extender on that one. We want to... Wait. I want to make sure I cut everything in the right way. The cutter is the same, but one of these needs to be turned. And then this whole thing needs to be merged And once it's merged, I need to rotate it once more because that's going to output what, half? That's going to output the exact same thing as this. Then I need a 180 degree turn it and merge it. So I don't have a 180 degree rotator, so maybe this is a good opportunity to make one. So we'll take our counterclockwise rotator and we will swap the rotation parts of this to 180 degree rotators. Be very careful when you're swapping this, guys. If you notice, I think I'm swapping the top one, but actually I'm swapping the underneath one. See that? Regardless of whether you think you're swapping the, it visually looks like you're swapping the top or the bottom one. If you've got the bottom layer selected, it always swaps the bottom one. If you want to swap the top one, you actually need to go up one level to make sure you're swapping that top one as well. Alright, so we've got our 180 degree rotator. Let's save that as a blueprint. It was called a rotator 180 Mark II. I'm sure that will come in handy. So we'll save that, we'll take that, pop it at the end of there, and that should give us our emerald rotated. And what do we do with that emerald rotated? We just simply stack it onto the other half of it. That would make the full emerald. This is the stupidest way to make a full emerald. I know, guys, I know, relax. This is stupid, but we just need to get it done so we can get rid of this damn task. That should give us full emeralds output. The preview hasn't updated yet, but I trust that it will do that. Yes, full emeralds, great. So that's gonna go. Why has this not gone at all? It should have been going by now. It can't be the first time it's delivered this shape for me. Am I creating the wrong shape? Obviously I'm creating the wrong shape, you silly person. This is dependent on direction because we don't want to stack it the wrong way. So let's get our stacking array and ensure this time our circle is indeed on top by flipping the stacking array and doing that. Great. Mistakes happen, it's all good, we're in no rush. Well, we are kind of in a rush because we want research points for our swappers and stackers, but I have an idea on how to do this, and we can probably, while we're waiting for all this to happen, we can probably start with the cutter, no, the swapper, because the first thing that I want to do, if we go back to our milestone 2's shape, see how we're like extracting a whole bunch of quarter squares out of here? And then, sorry, let me just quickly bring up my milestone 2's shape so you guys can see what I'm talking about. We go to our operator level, we can see our milestone 2 shape. Underneath is this green checkerboard. Now, this green checkerboard I am building in the most inefficient way possible by extracting 4 separate squares, then coloring them and then merging them to create this checkerboard, right? Apparently that's dumb. So Justin Lee, I'm sorry for building you an inefficient factory. I'm going to remedy that now using cutters and swappers. So let's try to figure out what I'm doing before I uproot that factory. If I copy this entire thing over, in fact, we should just upgrade all of this to Mark II. Remember, we're upgrading everything to Mark II anyway, so since we're doing that, we might as well fix the build. If we go to our blueprints and we pick up our Mark II extractor, just plop it right there. And that should extract us. Oh, actually, no. You know what? Scratch that. We got to find a new place to do this. All right, I'll be right back till I figure out somewhere I can pull a full square from and somewhere more convenient to do this area. All right, guys, I think I found a good area to do this. We've got green squares over here and we've got blue stars over here. So we should be able to somehow utilize this with our cutters and swappers to build our green checkerboard a lot more efficiently. Let's see how we can do that. So we'll start by extracting our squares and painting them green by using our Mark II extractor and using our Mark II fluid extractor. Didn't I give this thing an icon? Apparently not. That's fine. Let's merge these now together. I'm going to build this a little bit lower. Grab a space pipe, pipe it over. We'll grab a space belt and belt that over, leaving a 5 space gap for our stacker. sorry, not our stacker, our painter. And we've got to make sure the fluids are coming in the fluid section. All right, that should give us green squares. With green squares, we also need regular squares to swap them with. So we're going to need another extractor. And with that second extractor, I'm wondering if I need more extractors. I don't know about the throughput of this, so I'm going to have to try to figure this out on camera. So bear with me, guys. We need to now get these close together. So if we just build another space belt over here somewhere, we can try to figure out how we're going to swap them. So let's just build a big foundation to play around on. Let's pipe in our stuff. The way we usually work on this to figure out how a brand new system works is we're going to have to build a Mark 1 version, then we'll figure out how to convert that into a Mark 2 version. So I'm only going to use the bottom belts of both conveyors. So this is squares and this is green squares. These swappers, what they do apparently is they just swap the two components and then output both of them. So let's just pipe one in and see how that works. So I need a belt to go in the back like that. And then I need another belt to go in the back like that. Ah, there we go. And see how that swaps it like that? And that's excellent. So with that, we can just, I guess, output them. But to get the same shape, I'm going to need to rotate one of these, right? So it's going to have to, no, 180 degrees. That way we get the same shape out of both. All right, so that's how one works. Let's see how we can put this into a nice symmetric array. So if we take one and we'll just plop it down, say here, let's figure out first how many we need. With full equal upgrades, we'll need 4, but for now we'll need 5. So let's just build this with 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to need the output to look something like this. And then we're going to need to input this with 2 belts somehow. So I guess I'm going to need to do this on the second level. It's going to have to do something like this, right? So one belt is going to go on the one side of our stackers, and then we need to go up a level, and then we're going to need a second belt to go onto the second layer of our stackers, like that. Can I just copy that? Yes, I can. And if we go back up, can we conveyor that in? Great. Let's just validate that works first by piping in some stuff. Let's do that. I kind of want to do it the other way around because I want the outputs to just come out there. So if I flip that and put it in like that, we want to build it symmetrically. We need to leave a little bit of a gap for the output. Then we should in theory be able to pipe one of the shapes this way. And then if we just raise the other, we can pipe it in that way. And look at that, guys. We've got an entire row of swapped shapes. That saves us a lot of effort. That is indeed easier. However, can we fit an entire array of 4 of these onto one platform? That is the question. Let's see if we can do that. Let's copy all this. Definitely not going to be able to fit 4 side by side. I can already tell. So let's just flip that and rotate it. Then we need to like do the same thing, maybe just down here. Now let's see if we can't get the output going. Definitely just going to output this one directly. Then we need to make sure the input can get hooked up to all 4 of these. So let's pipe in one shape at the bottom. I don't think order matters in this build. Oh, not like that. We'll pipe that one and that one into the bottom. Then we'll pipe this one into the bottom and this one. Let me just bring it over here to figure out which one goes where. That one goes there. That one goes there. Great. We might need to shift these belts a little. Let's see how we can pipe the stuff upwards. So we're definitely going to need to raise this and then move it over. So which belt goes where? That belt can go here. That belt can go here. This belt can go up and down. We'll bring this one over for now as well. Then we need to hook these up somehow. Let's go over here and let's bring this one over here, just like that. I think I've got all 4 hooked up now. Yep, these 2 are hooked up, but how can I get all this output out? That's a good question. Because I can't just go down and through here because this belt is in the way. Oh, I'm blocking off my own output. Interesting. Alright, I'm going to try something. If we just simply remove this belt, and let's do the upstairs belting in a different way. I'm going to remove this belt. I'm going to remove this belt as well. I'm going to remove this belt. Oops. I'm going to change the order of my belting. Fix these up first, make sure they're all connected. And then, if we take this upstairs belt and go like down and around, follow these belts, that way we should be able to make room, right? We want this one to be on the outside. It's doing a little bit of spaghetti here, but hopefully it will turn out to be a good design. There we go. No, it still crosses. What if we get this one to go here, then this one to go here, and this one to go down here? How does that look? Now you may be asking, why did I do it like that? I believe the reason is now I can just pipe this up and then we can exit using the second level. But obviously we want to rotate and then go back down to the first level, then exit. So everything exits on the same level. Okay, I think that works. Does that look nice, guys? It's not perfectly symmetric. It's a little bit of a belt spaghetti going on. I mean, ideally, but it's fine. It's functional, right? I believe that now gets us a full belt of green. Why has this one just given up and not given me an output? Is there a reason for that? Did I unhook one of the belts accidentally? The green, the input is here, and that's all working. The input is here, that's all working. I'm gonna assume this is all working, but let's just validate our assumptions. It's always a good idea to make sure everything's working before you save a template that doesn't work. Alright, cool. It's just for some reason the preview is not showing on this one, but we can indeed see it is giving us a full belt of the shape that we want. Excellent. Do I want to save this blueprint? I do, but it's not going to really be used anywhere right now. Let's just save this as a swapper. We'll just call it a swapper, right? Because this is like a Mark 1 swapper. Because remember, we do have 2 full belts here, guys. So, is that thing working? Is this thing even connected? This thing does not look connected correctly. Let me just fix that up. To go up and over. This is connecting to the top part of it. I don't want it to connect to the top part. I want this to connect to the ones coming from the bottom. Very careful about that, guys. Remember, our inputs are on 2 levels, but we only want to use level 1 of the input. Why is that? Because we need to use these platforms to flatten everything to make the Mark II version of this. Because we do have 2 rows of output. So let's get our flattener and plop that down something like that. We might need to shift everything down 1. Then we need our other side flattener like that. So if you recall, our flatteners basically take the belt that's outputting things on 2 levels and flatten them back into 2 separate belts that are all on the same level. That will allow us to copy our design, flip it, and bring it onto the other side. So this should also output a full set of 4. One of these needs to be elevated. It doesn't matter which. We'll just elevate this side. I like to elevate the back side. So instead of this outputting, we can just go up 1 level, up 1 level and get this directly to output outwards. we can undo whatever's happening here, go back up a level. This can directly output outwards here. In fact, actually, no, it can't do that because it needs to turn a little bit to give room for the two belts underneath it. So let's go underneath, let's hide that top level, let's delete the stuff we don't need, and we will conveyor this up one level and conveyor this up one level. That should be working now. Let's just validate that by putting a belt on the end of here to see if that is correctly outputting. I've got no inputs at the moment. Why is that? This is a liquid pipe. I need a physical pipe. So let's flip that and rotate, put that there. Great. So yes, this also splits shapes now. Green is coming in, swap is coming in. So this should give us green swap shapes. This thing also gives us green swap shapes on the second level. This belt should be able to merge with this belt. So if I take my space belt now, bring it over, curve it, hit tab, go underneath here, then merge this belt and this belt, that should indeed give us the double belted final output of our swapped green shape. Yes, excellent. Now, that is not making checkerboards, so let's grab our points from the pin tasks. Oh great, we finished this shape, so let's go and gut this shape out because we don't need it anymore. I believe it's happening right here, so we can remove all of this while we're here. Let's go into a train station here. We don't need any of that now. We just delete the train station. What is this? This is the circle. I don't need that either. Excellent. So we've removed that. Let's check what these emeralds are doing. So if we unlock that, the emeralds just need to be painted green. Be right back. Let me quickly go and do that. So I have my emerald coming out here and here. I just need to paint it green with a painting array. This is still using our old Mark 1 stuff. So we'll just grab our Mark 1 fluid extractor, pop it down here. We will belt out the fluids this way. We will turn this over. We will build ourselves a Mark 1 painting array. Just like that. Make sure the fluids are coming in the right direction. Belt in the space belt. Belt out the green emeralds. Is that giving us green emeralds? Maybe? Yeah, I trust that it is. And that will belt itself back into the base. And that should help complete that task. And we've got many of these operator milestones to claim because we upgraded the throughput. Now it's happening really quickly. And that gives us plenty of research points. And you know, with those research points, we can now unlock the cutter. The cutter is going to be the second part of this design. So let's just see how a cutter works. If we build ourselves a little platform, obviously we can't cut it like this because I think a cutter works very similarly to a half destroyer in that it only cuts in one direction, doesn't it? Yeah, it only cuts in up and down. So we need to rotate this first, 90 degrees either way. So if we go to our blueprints, we need our rotator clockwise or anti-clockwise. I don't think it matters. So let's just put our rotator down. That will give our rotated shape, and then we need to somehow cut this. But I believe before we can cut this, we need to ensure that, see, we've got different shapes up the top and the bottom. Why do we have different shapes up the top and the bottom? Because this thing is outputting the same shape. That's all outputting the same shape. The green is on the right. This thing is outputting all the shapes on the left. These two are different shapes. Interesting. We don't want that, do we? Do we want that? Now we've rotated it. Yeah, we kind of do want that, don't we? So on the top layer, we've got the green on the top, and on the bottom layer, we have the green on the bottom. We've got to keep that in mind because when we cut this, we need to make sure we piece the right thing back together. So let's create a cutter for the top and a cutter for the bottom. Well, let's just create a cutter that works first. So if we create a new platform, let's see how we can get a cutting thing to work. Let's pipe in the bottom layer first and get one working. So if I take this and cut it in half, where is my cutting thing? how does a cutter work? It takes one input and two outputs. So maybe I want to input it down the middle, something like that. And it takes 5 per thing as well. So we'll grab 5. The input should be quite straightforward, just like that. The output, however, is not as straightforward. The output is going to output two sort of like slightly different shapes. So we need definitely 2 rows of output, something like this. Right, and we need to probably go on to the second level and output something like this. Right. Alright, so we've got our 2 different outputs. So let's just clean this up a little before we copy and paste it a few times. Oop. Flip that, rotate, and then we want to put it down here somewhere and give plenty of clearance for outputs. Now there's 2 different shapes, so I might want to output one on the left and output one on the right this time. So maybe I'll just do that a little bit closer to home. Okay. Now we need to route the input in first. So let's go around as close as we can and input that like such. Right, so all our inputs are working. This is all the same shape. Okay, we're gonna make sure this is all the same shape being cut to create all the same outputs. Now we've got 2 layers of output. One needs to go out this way, one needs to go out this way. So let's get the downstairs one out first, because that's probably easier to do. So maybe this one can go just like straight there. This one can go straight there. Then this needs to do maybe like a hop over and back down and output here. Nope, nope, nope. Do it here. And then this one also needs to do a hop and back down and output here. So we've got 1 shape outputting on this side. Now we need a similar thing happening with the upstairs shapes. So the upstairs shapes needs to output that way. So you can just go straight out, right? And then you can go out that way. I want everything outputting flat back on the same ground again. Then we need the one over here to output. Oh no, I need a little bit of room here. Let's go down 1 tile. I'll fix that up. I think that's working. Make sure we hook up the outputs. Then we need the one above to go out this way, and this one to also go out this way. So we'll take that out, something like that, and then this one can go something like that. Is that symmetric and kind of nice looking? It's not super symmetric, but it's symmetric enough. Maybe we need to get that going down though. Yep, just like that. And that. Okay, so now we've got 2 different shapes outputting back on the first level, and that's dealing with the bottom layer input. Now we've got to do the same treatment to the top layer input, right? I think so. So we're going to need a platform to split this top layer and bottom layer input. So we have platforms that do that. Let's see if we can't task one of them to do that for us. So now we got 2. These shapes are different, bear in mind. So what happens if we take the exact same thing and put it here? Well, firstly, I see an issue that this output needs to work a little bit differently. It's the cleanest way of doing this. What if I did it like this? Then it's not symmetric. I don't want both of them to do that. Something like that, which means I need another platform here. Let me delete that. Let me do a triple platform like this. Then we'll take the bottom row output and we will pipe it straight through. I'm sure there's better platforms I can unlock later, and someone will tell me in comments to unlock some specific platform to make this prettier. But for now, I think this will do. Oh. I want to output that, but then we want to go onto the ground floor because we want to flatten this back out. Just like that. And that should also do some sort of cutting now, right? Once this filters through. and that should give us similar shapes, but similar and analogous shapes to the other side. This one is green up the top and on the left. This one is, why is the preview not showing up? Green at the bottom and on the right. Are these just the two perfect shapes? I think so. Let me put in a stacker and we will find out. We put in a stacking array. I think we just want our tier 1 one because we only have one of each shape. Doesn't matter which one goes on top and bottom, but in theory, should that give, oh my god, magic. We've got a checkerboard. We've got to do the same treatment on the other side. So if we do something like a space belt this way, I don't know how far down to go because eventually we want to stack both of these onto the same space belt, right? But let's just give it a little bit of room. We can condense the build in a second. This shape and this shape condensed together should also give us the correct output, right? So if I take this belt and wire it in here and this belt and wire it in there, that gives us a checkerboard. It does. Is this the same checkerboard as this checkerboard? They can only be the same checkerboard, right? It's kind of rotated, so but a checkerboard is always a checkerboard. So if I just put in a rotator for counterclockwise or clockwise, and then just cut all this out one layer, and rehook this up, does this now give me the exact same checkerboard? Hold on, this rotator's the wrong way. Rotator, will it tell me? So the checkerboard. I don't know how I did that. Don't ask me to ever do that again, but it is working. We don't need a tier 2 rotator, we only need a tier 1 rotator. So let's go up one level and just delete all this so we don't confuse ourselves. And that's giving us a checkerboard. We do, however, need to output one of these onto the second level so we can merge it back onto one belt. I don't know if I've done this correctly, guys. My brain hurts. I'll be honest, my brain really hurts right now with this cutting and swapping. Look, I think the old version I did where I pieced this together is probably not the most efficient way to do things, but I will certainly tell you it is a lot simpler, and there is something to be said for simplicity, honestly. So if I merge these two together, that should give me a full belt of checkerboards, and they're all rotated correctly. Amazing. Alright, let's hop the belt and get this out. I don't even think I want to save this as a pattern because what the hell is even going on? Let's review. So we've got our output of 2 squares and one of the squares is being turned green. So then we have a regular square and a green square. It's going through our newly built Mark II swapper to output 2 slightly different shapes, similar but opposite shapes out here. And then we're putting this through a rotator to get it to be cuttable. Then we're flattening it all onto one level. Then we're putting it through our Mark I cutters. And that cutter is outputting 2 slightly different shapes, which we can then merge back together to make a checkerboard. So the input is 2 different shapes, and the output is a single saturated belt of that shape completely mixed and mingled. Okay, excellent. Oh, okay. That's the input. Yeah, okay, that's super confusing. Alright, it's alright, it works. Alright, back to it. The other part of it was blue ninja stars. Blue ninja stars, let's get back to doing something simple, guys, because my brain still hurts from that. Let's get blue ninja stars coming out here. Let's get fluid coming out here. Let's pull the fluid pipe from here up to our this thing, leaving a 5-space gap. Then let's put our painter and hook that up. That'll give us blue ninja stars. Blue ninja stars just simply need to be put together with this shape that we just made, the checkerboards, leaving a 5-space gap to allow us to then do a regular Mark II stacking, making sure the right shape is on the bottom. I'm going to zoom in a little bit to see which one's the top and which one's the bottom. This checkerboard's going up the top, so I need to flip, rotate, and kaboosh. In theory guys, not in practice, but in theory, that should be getting our milestone 2 shape back out. Oh, that is insane. I am going crazy. Now, before we finish that, we need to put our label back on. Did I completely swap this, or no, the label's just the wrong way. This factory was dedicated to Justin Lee. So we'll put his name back on there. And if you guys want a milestone factory named after you guys, just let me know in comments. When I started off this video series, I was getting like 1 or 2 comments. So I just said, leave a comment and then I'll name a milestone factory after you. For some reason, a lot of you guys are watching my videos and leaving a bunch of comments. So you're going to have to be specific now and say, I want a milestone factory named after me, and I will do that for you. Okay. I will probably dedicate some milestone factories to the people that are giving me amazing tips. In fact, we should probably rename this after the person that told me about the swappers, because thank you for that, giving me this massive headache. But now we are ready to cargo this back to our base. So let's just belt this somewhere out of the way, and let's build our train loader. I don't think I have our train loader pattern anymore. So let's put our cargo loader. That's our new cargo loader, right? We need our tracks going upward and the input coming from anywhere. Just like that. Now we need to get the track to meet our main track. So we'll bring our rail up and meet this thing. We don't need a stop here. We just need a rail. And this rail should be working because we just hijacked it from our previous one. That should be working. And given this is a super long track, let's do the thing that our friend taught us about the double wagons. Oh, by the way, speaking of double wagons, let's see how that's working out for us. I think our train did pick up 2 sets of wagons for the thing, but I never created an unloader that can handle 2 sets of wagons, did I? Yeah, I don't think I ever created, was it the green one or the red one? But either way, I need it for both, don't I? So let me just put another train stop here. In theory, I should just put another train stop here. It should unload both sets of wagons if I'm not wrong. So let's do that. Give that a little bit more room. So in theory, the train should come, it should stop here, unload, and then stop here and unload. And it should still use the same unloaders. It will just be no more breaks in between this gap. Great. So this thing for milestone needs probably the same treatment. So let's just quickly put some extra stops on there, some extra wagons. And then wherever this is offloading, we need to give it the same treatment. So an extra stop, and yeah, just an extra stop will do. Oh, that was exhausting. Let's get back to our tasks at hand. Our milestone 7 task is almost completed, but our pin task is even closer to being completed. All we need to do is stack our green emerald onto a regular square, and I'm hoping many episodes ago I built the green emerald in a way such that there is a regular square nearby. I believe that's the regular square we're going to be using. I don't have enough space. I think when I built this thing, I was still using everything in tier 1, so I don't have enough space for a tier 2 thing, but that's fine. We're just going to have to live with the fact we only have tier 1 regular squares. And then I just need to go here, hijack the emerald. I don't even need a tier 2 stacker now, so I just put a tier 1 stacker down and make sure the right thing is going on the right level. The emerald is on top, the squares are on the bottom. We'll hook that back in and get that coming back out. We'll get rid of this little kink. That should give us this shape. Now, our operator level has gone up, giving us some more points. So what should we do for the end of this episode? Let's at least get this thing functional, because I believe that's just our last shape mixed with the other shape. Is that right? Interesting. Let's see how this stacking works. That'll be quite interesting, wouldn't it? So if we look at this shape that we created, that's just that. and then we just have to put the green thing on it. Oh, I see why this is so special, because normally if you were to stack the green just straight flat down, what would happen is it would just go on the bottom level. But because of these risers, or these pins as they call it in this game, it allows the green thing to hover in the air. Okay, I understand now. So theoretically, I should just have to take my green and my thing and just merge them, right? So if I bring my green down, where is this happening? I don't need to output. Well, I do need to output. Where is a logical plate? Let me just gut my trains. Oh. So this is the blue part, and the green part is over here somewhere. That's over here. I don't need this train anymore. So let's just gut this rail. Gotta do your cleanup, guys. That's how you avoid spaghetti. And then let's take the... Oh, did I cut this accidentally? No, this is just a dip. Alright, let's take the green part, and we'll get it coming down and meeting up with our blue part. And in theory, we just need to create enough space, 5 tiles of space, for our Mark II stacker. Now I'm gonna make, it shouldn't matter which way it stacks, because one side of this is empty and one side of this is empty. But this thing is on the bottom and this thing is not on the bottom. This thing is on the right. So we need to get this onto the left. We need to get it onto the left hand side. So that is 90-degree counterclockwise rotation. So if I just put a counterclockwise rotator, well, that's a clockwise, counterclockwise rotator. Is it a counterclockwise rotation? It's on the bottom. It's a clockwise rotation, I think. My brain is still jelly from creating that swapper cutter checkerboard thing. So yeah, it's on the bottom. We need to get it onto the left, so that's a clockwise rotation. Like I said, guys, I'm bad at clockwise and counterclockwise. You can laugh at me in the comments. I'm okay with that. Great, so that should rotate that clockwise, merge it in with this, and that should give us this shape, in theory. Alright, let's check back with everything else to see, we make sure we've cleaned up everything. What shapes are being loaded into my vortex? I think the next thing I want to work on is my vortex and clean up all this input-output stuff. So this array is loading in the shape from the last milestone. This is from milestone 1. This one is from milestone 2. Ah, I see. Now that I've built my new ninja stars, let's just validate that that ninja stars is working. This is where I built my ninja stars. That is indeed creating a blue thing on a ninja star. Let me just triple check that is the correct pattern. In our operator level, it is blue stars on green checkerboard, and there is no orientation to it. So we can now decommission our old factory that does that. We'll decommission this one, I believe is happening here. This thing is unloading those stars. So we don't need that happening. We want to maintain this train line because this is our north heading train line. What we don't need is anything beyond that. All of this can go. Look at that. Big cleanup. Great. Now that that top part is free, we've got this bottom part happening. What we want to do here is merge these two rails, because this is delivering one of our milestone shapes. This is delivering one of our milestone shapes. We don't need two rails. So what we need to do is turn this train locomotive green and get it delivering onto the same rail as this. So let's clean that up. Incremental improvements every game, guys. That's what it's all about. You don't need to get everything done in one go. You don't need to get everything done perfectly in one go. You just need to slowly and incrementally improve. We will get this train rail going all the way this way once this shape is completed, and we can delete this section of the map. This shape is being built, is it not? Why is this not being built? Is this thing just coming out on the second level or something? What's happening? Oh my god, I built this thing. I knew something was wrong here. This thing is all coming out on the second level, so it doesn't like it. We need this coming out on the first level. Alright, you know what? You can keep coming out on the second level because it's backed up here. So I need to bring it back down onto the first level here. Silly me. Everything is difficult when you're learning. But that's okay, guys, because this game is all about learning. Alright, bringing that back down. I used the wrong extractor, if you're wondering why that's happening. Because I copied and pasted part of this tier 2 extractor. It's extracting the part that goes upstairs, and I'm using a Mark 1 stacker which expects input from downstairs, so I have to shift that. But now that should be generating the correct output. Let's just validate. Yep, great. So that'll slowly fill up. Once that pin task is gone, I can remove that. Those errors shouldn't be happening anymore because going forward, everything will be built to Mark II standards. Now, we have a bunch of research points. The first thing I want to do is fix all my inputs because this vortex is looking awfully ugly and I want to improve it a little bit. Let's go to our research points. Let's go to vortex inputs, and we have just enough to get our vortex inputs to level 5. Woohoo! That means every single vortex input is now unlocked. That means we can have everything piped in exactly into the correct area. Can I just delete everything on this platform? I can't delete this platform. I know that game, but how do I? Yeah, I want to be in this view and deleting everything on this platform. Great. Now let's build our inputs properly because we've unlocked everything. It's something I've been meaning to do for a long time, guys, and I think I've even got people commenting for me to do this. So yes, finally we are doing this. Just like that. We've got this side in. I think we can, instead of building it again, we can just copy that and flip it somehow, right? Just like that. And then we should be able to copy this. Zoomed out too far, working on too big of an area. The game doesn't like it. I'm gonna copy this whole thing, flip it, rotate it. I don't need to flip it, I just need to rotate it. You're silly. Rotate it, rotate it. I want to copy the whole thing. Can I? No, I zoomed out too much. Can I copy this entire thingy-mabob? And then, oh, it's so laggy. The game does not like this. Up one level and paste. Now we got all our inputs perfectly done. This is all working fine. Let's just carefully check it to make sure it is indeed, because we never want to touch this ever again. Let's check this one. This is still using our tier 1 system, so only one belt of it is coming across. Let's check one of the ones where there's tier 2. This one. See, look at that. We've got a fully saturated tier 2 belt with two levels of input. And it's going on to the 2 levels of input and throwing all of that into that vortex. Look at that, guys. Everything is working. Everything is lovely. Everything is clean. The next stage we need to do, and we will slowly work on this, is getting the train input. I want, obviously, if you can see these belts coming in, or we can actually clean this up a little bit now. You can see we've got train unloaders that look like this, routing into belts that look like this. So I'll definitely come up with a good design for that. In the meantime, look, this thing's going under. It doesn't need to go under anymore. It can just come and be friends with these input rails. And see, look at that. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. 3 inputs all being input into here. And that one's working. Oops. I think this thing is our milestone shape. Let's just go back and validate that that is working before we sign off this episode. I built the milestone shape. I never built anything to make sure the milestone shape gets back home. Alright. Good job. You're the best data engineer anyone could possibly ask for. You leave tasks half uncompleted, the way good data engineers should. We need to give that a flip and a rotate, and that should load that onto my train. Now my train needs to go over here. It needs to cut through this fluid belt. Fluid belt goes underneath. Train goes over the top and merges back into the main rail. This thing should be fully backed up with stuff though. Oh no, I didn't even have a loader, so it wouldn't even be backed up with stuff. But we can validate whether this shape is indeed correct. Where is an easy place to do that? It's very hard to see the shapes. I think that is looking awfully like this shape. So we've definitely got milestone 7 in the bag, I think. Let's claim that. And before we sign off, I need to dedicate this factory to someone. I believe this factory must go to WAF74 for all his helpful tips about the trains, about the tier level 2 usage and doubling our throughput. So WAF74, thank you for all of your comments. You can't use numbers in the label, so it's just gonna have to be WAF, but we all know who you are. Thank you so much for all your comments. This factory is dedicated to you. Alright guys, I think that's the end of this video. I will see you guys in the next one. My brain hurts. I need to go take a 2-hour nap. See ya.